What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Flames back at it again. Another Bible reading video, man. It's today. I'm about to be reading out of Second Samuel. Um, Finished First Samuel last night. Um, gotta might not have time later today. Normally make these videos at night, but we're gonna get them done early today. Um, but yeah, man. Without further ado, Second Samuel, chapter 1. Get right to it. David hears of Saul's death. After the death of Saul, when David had returned from striking down the Amalekites, David remained 2 days in Ziklag. And on the third day, behold, a man came from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and dirt on his head. And when he came to David, he fell to the ground and paid homage. David said to him, "Where do you come from?" And he said to him, "I have escaped from the camp of Israel." And David said to him, "How did it go? Tell me." He answered, "The people fled from the battle, and also many of the people had fallen and are dead, and Saul and his son Jonathan are dead." Remember, David and Jonathan are like the best of friends. Um, and the young, okay, hold on. And David said to the young man who told him, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" And the young man who told him said, "By chance I happened to be on Mount Gilboa, and there was Saul leaning on his spear, and behold, the chariots and the horsemen were close upon him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me and called to me, and I answered, 'Here I am.' And he said to me, 'Who are you?' I answered him, 'I am an Amalekite.' And he said to me, 'Stand beside me and kill me, for anguish has seized me, yet my life still lingers.' So I stood beside him and killed him, because I was sure he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown that was on his head, and the armlet that was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my lord." Wow. And David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and so did all the men who were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel. So they're mourning and weeping. I mean, obviously, because, he obviously was really close to Jonathan, but for somebody who wanted him dead, right? Um, okay. For the house of Israel, because they had fallen to the sword. And David said to the young man who told him, "Where do you come from?" And he answered, "I am the son of a soldier, an Amalekite." David said to him, "How is it you were not afraid to put out your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" And David called one of the young men and said, "Go, execute him." And he struck him down so that he died. And David said, "Your blood will be on your head, for your own mouth has testified against you, saying, 'I have killed the Lord's anointed.'" So even though Saul requested, right, for him to do this, he still killed the king who was anointed to be the king over all Israel, even though it was asked upon him and he was just following the order. Still killed him. Um, Kind of harsh, but I mean, this is what it is, right? They were like, I don't know. That's kind of I kind of feel bad for that guy. It's kind of a tough situation. David's lament for Saul and Jonathan. And David lamented with his lamentation over Saul and Jonathan his son, and he said, "It should be taught to the people of Judah. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher." He said, "Your glory, O Israel, is slain in your high places, how the mighty have fallen. Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest in the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised exult. You mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew or rain upon you, nor fields of offerings. For the shield of the mighty was defiled, the shield of Saul not anointed with oil. For the blood of the slain, for the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan beloved and lovely. In life and death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. You daughters of Israel weep over Saul, who clothed you luxuriously in scarlet, who put ornaments of gold on your apparel. How the mighty have fallen in the midst of battle. Jonathan lies slain in your high places. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant have you been to me. Your love to me was extraordinary, surpassing the love of woman. How the mighty have fallen, and the weapons of war perished. Okay, that is the end of this first chapter. Basically, even though Obviously, a lot of that was him grieving over Jonathan, but still grieved over Saul despite Saul's hatred towards him, which shows that he's not like that's not as important to him. Um, and he still feels bad for him dying, and he still sees him as king. And that's just another example of humility with David. Um, but yeah, that is the end of this first chapter. I'm about to make a chapter for the second video right now. And I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank y'all so much, and I'll catch y'all here in a sec. Thanks.